Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to today's online show. Now, today's show is a first for Wendy Wu Tours. This is our first ever pre-travel customer show. So you've probably been on these online shows before and heard about some of our new destinations or come along to get some holiday inspiration, but today's show is a little bit different. So I'm hoping that all of you joining already have a confirmed booking to go to Japan with Wendy Wu Tours this spring. And the purpose of today's show is to help you get prepared for your trip. We're here today to answer all of the questions that you've got. So if you are busy making lists for your holiday or trying to pack and working out what you need and what you need to do, then you're in the right place. So I'm going to be joined shortly by some colleagues from our operations team, and they're going to be answering the frequently asked questions that we get. And so we'll take you through that in the next half hour or so. And by the end of the show, we hope that you will be feeling prepared and extra excited for your fantastic Wendy Wu tour to Japan. So I'm very excited to be joined by our head of operations, Matt Cobley. Hi, Matt.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here. So Matt runs our operations team. So whenever you call through with questions or email the team after you've made your booking, it's Matt's team that are there on the end of the phone to answer everybody's questions. They're a very busy team, Matt.
Yep, very busy preparing for all the stuff this season.
Yeah, and I know that Cherry Blossom is a particularly busy time for you and the team. So a lot of our customers are going to be excited about their trip, but I know one thing that a lot of customers ask is what are they going to receive? Should they be waiting for a ticket to come through the post, or what should they look out for?
Yes, so approximately around 2 weeks prior to departure, we'll send out some travel documents. We send them by email and also by post. So you'll receive this in the post around 2 weeks before your trip, and it'll include everything that you need to know.
That looks very smart. So I can see we've got our luggage tags. What else have we got in there? What documents have we got?
So you'll receive your etiquette for your flights, and we'll touch in more detail later what you need to know about that, and as well as a day-by-day itinerary, in-depth day-by-day itinerary and destination information as well.
So that's going to have lots of important information, is it,
Yes.
for our customers to read through?
Yes, so at the beginning there's a bit of an introduction of Japan, and that is the real what you need to know. And further to that, we have a travel guide, and there's lots and lots of pages in here of all general information about Japan.
Amazing. That looks really good. I can see there's quite a lot of information in here to read, but I'm sure you've put it all in there for a reason.
Yep.
So I guess if you've got a bus journey or a train journey or
Great
something,
reading.
Great reading on the way. Are there any bits in here that you'd particularly flag out as being important?
I mean, so just a general question. So things relating to sort of luggage, electricity, just a general need to know, to save having a Google, it's all in here.
Great.
And it also all had little pictures and stuff like that as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Matt. Thanks for joining us. So that's what to look out for in the post. And when you do get it through in the post, you're going to have quite a bit of reading to do, but actually taking a bit of time to look through it is going to answer lots of your questions. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really excited to be joined by our head of trade sales, Gary.
Hello everybody, hi Kate.
Thanks for joining us, Gary.
You're very welcome.
Now, Gary was lucky enough to actually travel to Japan with Wendy Wu Tours last year. So Gary, I've got you on the sofa today. We might have some people watching who are not quite sure what to expect on their trip to Japan. So I'd love to just hear a little bit more about it. How did you find your trip?
Well, Kate, I was exactly the same before I went. You know, I knew that there was going to be some brand new experiences for me. But I think nothing can quite prepare you for just how incredibly different Japan is and unique from anything that you've ever, or any place you've ever been before.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it, and it was so fascinating, very, very educational, but it's also beautiful. Even the big metropolis cities are beautiful. And I guess the one thing that sort of was loud and clear for me though was the value of having one of the Wendy Wu Tour guides with you at all times. Because when you've got a different language and a different alphabet, and the food is so far beyond, you know, if you're not used to Japanese food, you have no idea of that these guys answer every single question for you. And quite honestly, you know, I think if you went without the guide, you would take probably 3, 4, 5 days just to acclimatise into the way things work in Japan, how to get around, what to eat, where to go. Having that guide takes all of that worry away for you. So quite honestly, please don't worry. The Wendy Wu Tour guides will look after you and hold your hand from the minute you arrive.
That's fantastic. Thanks for sharing that, Gary. And ladies and gentlemen, you really are in really safe hands. So we are the UK's #1 tour operator to Japan. And that means that in the spring season, we're going to have thousands of customers travelling all over the region. And our guides have been so busy in recent weeks and months preparing for your arrival. We've actually had some of the Wendy Wu Tours team over the last few weeks. They've been out in Japan doing extra training, extra refreshers. And our guides are just really excited to meet you all and welcome you to their homeland. So yeah, definitely in safe hands.
Absolutely.
Now, our customers watching today, Gary, they'll be travelling to Japan during the spring season. Hopefully some of them will be lucky enough to experience the beautiful cherry blossom like we've got on the picture behind us. Tell us a little bit about what we should expect at that time of year.
Well, first of all, to say it's magnificent, absolutely magnificent. It really is such a spectacle. However, it's going to be really busy. You know, domestic tourism in Japan is bigger than international tourism. Of a country with 130 million people or something, it is a national holiday around that time. So it's going to be very, very busy. You know, lots of people will be outside wanting to experience it themselves, which is great to experience, you know, from your side to see the Japanese and just how significant and special it is to them. For us, maybe it's photo opportunity. For them, it's very, very special culturally. So I guess just to be ready with how busy it's going to be, expect that, but also to enjoy the magnificence of it. It's beautiful.
And just to embrace it, I guess, because you really are getting the opportunity to experience something that, as you say, is quite culturally significant.
It's such a spectacle, you know, and okay, I think there's some forecasts that you can look at to see where it's going to be. Because, of course, it's one of the elements you can't control, but, you know, people going for cherry blossom, I'm sure they'll get to experience that wonderful spectacle at some stage throughout their trip. Yeah,
that's brilliant to hear. Thanks, Gary. So as Gary mentioned, there is a cherry blossom forecast. So the same way that we have the weather forecast in the UK, in Japan, they actually release a cherry blossom forecast. So we'll put the web link up on the video for you. So feel free to check it out. As you say, it's one thing we can't control. It obviously depends on how the winter's been, on how those buds are forming. But at the moment, the forecast is that the blossom will begin to bloom in March and through early April. And different regions of Japan blossom at different times. So we really hope that lots of you do get the opportunity to see that beautiful blossom while you're in Japan.
Absolutely.
Gary, thanks ever so much for today.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so excited for everybody going, to be honest, because it's such a brilliant experience.
Brilliant. So next, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Ellen. Hi, Ellen.
Hello, everyone. Okay, thanks for having me.
So Ellen is one of our operations execs, so she's in Matt's team, and you may have spoken to her on the phone, in fact, because I know that you take lots of phone calls and lots of emails.
Yeah, spoken to lots of you.
So Ellen has kindly prepared all of the frequently asked questions that her and the ops team get through from customers before they go to Japan. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through those, hopefully save you a phone call or save you an email into the team by answering those questions for you now. So hopefully, Ellen, this will answer lots of the nitty gritty that customers are thinking about before their trip.
Absolutely, that's the plan.
Great. Right, I'm going to go straight in. So the first thing that you get a lot of questions about is flights, and particularly customers who want to pre-book their seats. So can you tell us, how does that work? When can customers pre-book their seats, and does it cost them any money?
Absolutely. So it does vary between airlines, but once your tickets are issued, which is about 4 weeks before departure, that's when you can go directly onto the airline and pre-book seats. Now, your booking reference will come through with those final documents that Matt was speaking about earlier. So you'll be able to grab that and put in your last name to the airline. And then, as I said, it does vary between airline, whether that'll be a chargeable or free option, but you can take a look yourselves and decide what's best for you.
Excellent. I think most airlines have like a manage my booking section that you'll find and follow
Yeah.
through the steps.
Yeah, the easiest thing to do is just to take your airline, so Emirates, for example, and Google Emirates Manage My Booking, and it will just be your reference and your last name you need. So it should be straightforward.
Great. And then I guess the next step after that is actually the online check-in.
Yeah.
So when would our customers be looking to check in online?
Absolutely. So it's between 24 to 36 hours before departure usually. Again, varies by airline, so just have a little look. And you just type in, similarly to for Emirates check-in online, and put in that reference and your last name. And usually at that point, if you haven't already done so, you can select seats free of charge, but be aware that there may be more limited availability if you wait till the last minute.
Perfect, thank you. So the next thing that comes up quite often is visas.
Yeah.
We know some Wendy Wu tours require visas, but
Indeed.
I don't think we do for Japan. Tell me more.
Fortunately, if you're a British citizen or hold a passport from New Zealand, Ireland or Australia, there's no visa requirement for Japan. So that's one thing you don't need to worry about. We always recommend though, just checking the Foreign Office guidance on any entry requirements, and particularly if you hold a passport from a different country that I haven't listed, as there may be a requirement for visas there.
Perfect, thank you, Ellen. So next up, you talked a bit about how airlines have manage my booking sections, but I know that the Wendy Wu Tours website also has a manage my booking section. So how would customers find it? But also what's in there? What would it be useful for?
Absolutely. So the Manage My Booking portal on Wendy Wu Tours is linked in all of your booking confirmation emails. And all you need again is just your booking reference and your last name to get on there. So that is where you upload all information like your passport, insurance, dietary requirements if you haven't already, and we'll touch on that later, and also where you can make payments and really see the countdown to your trip. So it's really easy to access, and recommend you go on there before travel.
Perfect. Now I'm going to go into a bit more nitty gritty.
Yeah.
So those of you that have already started packing, one question that we get a lot is about plug sockets and what electricity type people need on tour.
Absolutely.
So what's the plug situation in Japan?
Yeah, so you most likely will need an adapter in Japan. It's a type A adapter, which is the parallel 2 pins, and that's the same as if you were to travel to North America. So you may have
Great,
that
so
one already.
people might have one, yeah.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And in terms of the electricity, it's very similar to the UK. You can charge phone, tablets, or a travel hairdryer or anything like that, just using one of those adapters. The only thing you might need to think about is if you're bringing a hefty appliance like a really big hairdryer or straighteners, just double check that it can manage the 100 voltage supply that's available in Japan.
Very useful, thank you. So still talking about packing, weather. What kind of weather should our customers expect in Japan in the spring, and what should they be packing to take with them?
Absolutely. So it will vary across the country, but on the whole, in spring cherry blossom time in Japan, it's relatively cool temperatures with some rain and a little bit cloudy. So when you're up in the more northern areas, so like Sapporo, it will probably be single digits, early teens, and later into the season, more like May time, we're getting to early 20s. So we'd always recommend lots of light layers and maybe a rain jacket as well, just to cover in case of a rainy day.
Perfect. And I know that in the little travel guide that comes out with your documents, the one that Matt showed us, there's a packing list as well isn't there?
And there's also a guide for different temperatures as well, depending on where you're going. So that can help you get prepared.
Perfect. So is there anything else that our customers should be doing before they travel? Anything else that they need to think about?
Yeah, so the main thing, of course, is to make sure you've read through those final documents thoroughly. It does answer lots of questions. I know it's a lot of reading, but it does really help you feel quite prepared. So make sure you've done that, and also informed us of any dietary requirements or anything we need to know in terms of medical requirements before you travel. It's super important that we know all of those as well.
Okay, perfect. And then, of course, check that your passport is still valid.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've already mentioned that you don't need a visa.
No.
Travel insurance is an important requirement.
Absolutely. Make sure that you have your travel insurance to cover the full duration of your trip. And you can actually upload your travel insurance information to that customer portal we were talking about earlier. So it's always good as well to just refresh your memory on where your travel insurance details are, what the emergency number is in case you needed it, and before you travel.
Perfect. I know a lot of customers will also ask about vaccination requirements or medical requirements.
Absolutely.
What would your advice be for before they travel?
Yeah, absolutely. So we always recommend just heading to your GP and having a chat to them about any medical requirements you may need before you travel. You can also check a really useful website called Fit for Travel, and it's fitfortravel.com. travel.nhs.uk. So it's an NHS website filtered by Japan, and it'll tell you everything you need to know about medication and any vaccines.
Great. Fit for travel.
Fitfortravel.nhs.uk.
So that's definitely worth a look.
Yeah.
So talking of medication, a lot of our customers will have medication and they might be worried about what they can take to Japan or how they get it to Japan. What would your advice be?
Yeah, so usually you can take a 1 month supply of any prescription that's for personal use into Japan. It is worth just checking on the Foreign Office guidance if there are any limitations based off your specific medication that you should need. But yeah, 1 month prescription supply is usually fine.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. We're getting through these questions. We've got a few more. So we know that a lot of our customers want to stay in touch with their family and their friends while they're on tour. And lots of you ask about Wi-Fi.
Yes.
So how available is Wi-Fi in Japan? How easy will it be to keep the Facebook or the WhatsApp groups updated?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we definitely recommend sending photos home and keeping them all updated on your travels. Fortunately, Wi-Fi is really widely available throughout Japan. So specifically when you're at the hotels of an evening, and actually in a lot of public places, it will be available as well. However, if you did want to make sure you're definitely connected throughout, there's a couple of options. You can purchase a Japanese SIM card in the airport or in convenience stores throughout, or you could even be ahead of the game and get an eSIM before you travel.
Okay, so, hang on, an eSIM.
Yeah.
A lot of our customers might not have heard of an eSIM before.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit more.
Exactly. So an eSIM is basically a virtual version of a SIM card. So if you have a smartphone, you can download an app, and a couple of examples of that would be Holofly or AirArlo, but there are plenty others as well. You download the app and basically plan before you travel. You get the SIM card for Japan and it's set for a set duration. So that will just mean it's easy going when you arrive. You don't have to worry about anything there. So we just make sure that you've turned off any data roaming on your current plan so you don't get those hefty charges when you get home.
That's really important, isn't it? So that you don't get stung or caught out.
Absolutely.
So turn off your data roaming, use the Wi-Fi in the hotels each evening. You might also find other public places that you can connect to Wi-Fi, and then the people that want to stay really well connected the whole time that they're travelling around Japan, perhaps look into an eSIM.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect, thank you.
No problem.
Let's just talk a little bit about spending money.
Yeah.
So, I know a lot of our customers call up and they're not sure whether they should be taking cash or their card will work in Japan. What's your advice about the best way to take money?
Yeah, absolutely. So the currency in Japan is the yen. Now, Japan is actually quite a cash-heavy country. Cash is definitely king in terms of payment. So we would recommend having some yen with you, either that you've taken out before you go or that you've taken out at an ATM when you get there. Now, card will be available to be used in the hotels or the bigger stores, but when you're out and about and maybe buying drinks, cash is definitely important. So a combination is the best advice.
Perfect. And when you're in Japan, my understanding is in the major cities, there'll always be ATM machines.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, particularly in the major cities, there'll be ATMs available. And if you're ever unsure or you definitely know you need to stock up on some cash and stop, just let your guide know and they'll point you out on ATMs on the way.
Yeah, perfect. So luggage, I understand that our customers do have a luggage limit in Japan.
Yeah, absolutely. So the luggage limit per person is one 23 kilogram hold bag and one 5 kilogram hand luggage. Now the reason for that is because if you're taking one of the beautiful bullet train journeys, which I know for some people is a highlight, your luggage is couriered separately via a courier service. So it's worth noting that that luggage limit is set for the courier service.
Excellent. So it is important to note that even if your airline allowance is bigger than that, you do need to stick to that luggage allowance because of the domestic travel in Japan.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, so it's just worth noting before and when you're getting packing.
Perfect. Thank you, Ellen. So hopefully everybody's feeling more confident about what to pack, what to take, but tell us a little bit more about what happens when you arrive. So when our customers actually get off the plane in Japan, what should they expect?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing to do is just to make sure you read through your itinerary so you know what's happening on your specific tour. But in general, if you're arriving on the first day of the tour, when you arrive into the arrivals hall, an English-speaking Wendy Wu Tours rep will be waiting for you with a Wendy Wu Tours sign.
Big logo. Look
big
for the logo.
So you'll be able to see them.
Yeah.
Look out for them, and they are your first point of contact. They will take you to the airport transfer bus. Make sure you've got all the tickets. Make sure you know where you're getting off and everything like that. They're there to help you. So you will then transfer to the hotel, check in, and a letter there will be waiting for you with the next information. So depending on what time of day you arrive, you may have a bit of time to wait until until the evening when you'll meet your guide and have your first welcome meal and really get together with your group for that first kick-off of the tour.
Yeah, great. And I think another tip for when you arrive is to have those Wendy Wu Tour luggage tags that are in your documents on your luggage, because it will also help your transfer assistant spot you.
Yeah, exactly. And you can use that to spot maybe some other passengers on your flight and start to get together.
Excellent. So you mentioned that some people will be arriving at different times on that first day. What should somebody do if they're due to arrive in late? Because I know a lot of the flights from the UK can arrive in Japan quite late in the evening, and they might miss that welcome dinner.
Yeah, and if you do miss the welcome dinner, do not worry at all, because every single day there'll be a short briefing about what's happening that day. So there's no need to worry. As already explained, you'll be transferred to the hotel and you'll check in, and there'll be a letter waiting for you. Obviously, in your case, if you've already arrived later than that welcome meal, and then you'll meet with the guide the next morning and the group to get started. And if you need to catch up on anything, they'll make sure you're aware.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And what will the group be like?
Yeah, so we're really lucky that all of our groups are really mixed. So we have passengers coming from the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, and elsewhere, in fact. And because Cherry Blossom is peak season in Japan, we expect most of our groups to be at full capacity, which is 28 passengers, 28 customers. And we have a whole combination too. We have some people travelling as friends, some as couples, and lots of people travelling solo as well. So however you're arriving, you're sure to make lots of friends in the first couple of days and enjoy your tour.
Excellent. That's really reassuring. I just want to pick up on one thing which you touched on earlier, which was dietary requirements. So we know a lot of our customers do have dietary requirements. How is that going to be managed for them when they're on tour?
Yeah, absolutely. So regarding dietary requirements, you should ideally have already told us when making the booking if you've got any dietary requirements, so we can make the relevant accommodations. And if you haven't, we really recommend you call us really soon to let us know so we can discuss those with you. Now, dietary requirements in Japan are a little bit different. They're not as familiar with them as you may be in the UK or in other areas that you've travelled to, particularly because a lot of the common allergens, so gluten, for example, can be present in lots of sauces, marinades, so things like soy sauce and toppings and things like that. So it's really important that people are super clear about what their dietary requirements are, if it's an allergy, an intolerance, or just a preference, so we can make sure that they have the biggest variety that suits their requirements.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I think you're right to say to just be really clear with the team about what you can and can't eat. So for example, some customers tell us that they're gluten-free, but they are able to tolerate small amounts of gluten, like soy sauce. If you are able to tolerate that, then it means that there'll be more choice for you on tour, and you're more likely to get a variety of food. Whereas, of course, if you need to be strictly gluten-free, we'll absolutely pass that on to the team. But it does mean that your food options are going to be limited. So great tip, just be really clear with the team and we can pass that information onwards.
Yeah, the clearer and the more precise you can be on what you can have, the easier we can accommodate you. So
yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. Those are all the frequently asked questions that we've got. So hopefully that's answered a lot of the niggles or queries that you had. Thank you for joining us.
You're very welcome. Enjoy Japan.
So I'm back with Matt, And we're just going to spend a few minutes talking about what to do if something does go wrong on your Wendy Wu tour. So of course we hope that your whole trip is going to go smoothly from start to finish, but we also want you to feel reassured that if something doesn't go to plan, we're all here to help. And we've got people in Matt's operation team, in the aviation team, looking after flights, people who are on the phone for you 24/7 if you do need any support. So Matt, I think the most common problem that people experience is that there's an issue with their flight. For example, a delay. If somebody does get to the airport and their flight is delayed, what should they do?
Yeah, from time to time there is delays with airlines. If it's a minor delay, you don't need to worry about a thing because our tour guide will be tracking your flight number. So they'll be there to meet you upon arrival in Japan.
Perfect. And what if it's a longer delay? So for example, if a customer misses their connection and they get to the connecting airport, the flight's already gone, what should they do then?
Yeah, every now and again there are misconnections as a result of a delay. The airline do have a responsibility to rebook you on a later connecting flight, sometimes either another airline. At this stage, you will need to let us know if your flight has been changed. So you'll be able to find our team's contact number in our final itinerary and underneath the section about delays. You just need to inform them of your new flight number so the tour guide will be able to arrange a transfer for you.
Perfect. And then they'll just rearrange that so that there's still someone there to meet them on arrival.
Exactly.
So I guess that leads to my next question. What about if the customer arrives in Japan and they can't see any sign of an assistant, they can't see anyone with that logo? What should they do then? Again,
we have our local team's contact number on our final documentation. And on top of this, if you have any problems, our Wendy Wu Tours have a global 24/7 contact number, which is at the top of your documentation here as well.
Perfect, thank you. And I know other problems can arise on tour as well. So perhaps someone might check into their room and something in their hotel room isn't working. What would you suggest in that situation?
Yeah, the best place to fix any issues like that is at the hotel. So go down, speak to reception, or even call reception. If they're unable to fix it, I'd recommend speaking to your guide, either that day or the next day, as usually the guide will be able to help if there's any language barriers or anything. If for any reason you are unable to get that resolved, our local number is in our final documentations, the one I talked about earlier. You can give it a call.
Perfect. And then you did mention the 24/7 number. So if a customer does have an emergency, it sounds like your team are on hand any time of day or night. Tell me how that works.
So we have one number for all our customers from no matter where in the world they're coming from. It is manned 24 hours a day, and it'll either come through to our UK office or our Australia office. And that'll be evenings, weekends, so you don't have to worry about the time difference. There'll always be someone to help.
Perfect. So our customers are definitely in safe hands. The final thing to touch on is just generally getting customer feedback. So I know that your team will collect lots of feedback from customers who are on tour and then use that to continually make improvements. We love to hear about your trip. We love to hear about your highlights. We love to see your photos. So how should customers get in touch with that?
Yes, there is a few ways. You may get a link where you can fill an in-depth survey. So that's where we'd talk about all things about hotels, the guides, all that sort of thing. You can write in by email. We have a generic email that you can contact. And also we use FIFO online where people can post their reviews as well.
Brilliant. So, we do hope that your trip goes to plan and we love to hear that feedback. So do send us pictures and do fill in those links when they come through to you.
Japanese culture is built on intricate social etiquette and customs. As visitors, you're not expected to be knowledgeable about all etiquette, but it will make your time in Japan more enjoyable if you're respectful of local customs. Bowing. Bowing is a fundamental part of Japanese etiquette. The depth and duration of the bow depends on the situation and the person you are bowing to. A slight bow is a common way to show respect when meeting someone or saying thank you. Removing shoes. When entering someone's home, a traditional ryokan, or even some restaurants, it is customary to remove your shoes. Look for a genkan, an entryway, where shoes are typically left. There may be slippers provided. Be sure to wear clean socks, as you may be walking around in socks or barefoot. It's always so much appreciated by locals if you try to learn a phrase or two of Japanese before you go. Try this one. Arigatou gozaimasu. This means thank you very much. It's a polite way to express gratitude and is appropriate in most situations. Sumimasen. This versatile phrase can mean excuse me, I'm sorry, or thank you, depending on the context. You can use it to get someone's attention, apologize for a minor inconvenience, or express gratitude when someone goes out of their way to help you.
That's the end of today's session. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, and I really hope that we've answered your questions. You may have spotted that there's also a chat box probably below where my video is right now. So if you have got extra questions and we haven't answered them, please type them in the chat box there. Our operations team, including Matt and Ellen, who you met earlier, they're going to be online for the next 20 or 30 minutes answering those questions. So please feel free to ask away anything that we haven't covered. If you've still got more questions after that, then hopefully they'll be covered in your final documents when you receive those. So do have a good read through all of that information when you receive it. But if there's something that you still need help with, please just give our operations team a call and we will do our best to help you feel fully prepared before you go. So thank you for joining us, and on behalf of Wendy Wu Tours and the whole team here, we really hope that you have a fantastic time in Japan. So safe travels. We can't wait to see your pictures and hear more about it, and we look forward to hearing from you very soon.